The Vietnam War cost the lives of more than 58,000 American service members. They're memorialized on a wall that stretches nearly 500 feet from end to end. Now imagine another 30 yards of wall to accommodate another 10,000 names. That's the estimated number of lives that were saved because thousands of Viet Cong ambushes, bunkers, secret tunnels, and booby traps were detected and avoided. And by detected, we mean quite literally, sniffed out. Jungle warfare introduced American troops to a new kind of fighting. The enemy used the environment to their advantage, employing guerrilla tactics in ways that U.S. troops hadn't encountered before. A well-trained dog became an extension of his handler's senses, seeing, hearing, and smelling danger that was otherwise undetectable. When you talk to dog handlers about their experiences in Vietnam, they rarely talk about themselves. They talk about their dogs.
The sergeant walked me up to the kennel where Duke was, and the sergeant said, "I think you should be able to handle Duke. We've had trouble getting him assigned to a handler." Duke was not a big dog. He was probably 75 pounds, relatively small for a German Shepherd, but had a real mean streak in him.
I was fortunate. I had one of what some other people had said, whoever gets this dog is going to be very lucky. And I was lucky I got Prince.
There were 5 dogs available. I said, I want the hardest to get along with dog that you got. They said, "Oh, you want Crazy Jake." I said, "What do you mean crazy?" "You'll find out." And I found out really quick. He would run into hell after the devil himself if I'd let him.
The sentry dog back then was a German Shepherd, which primarily was trained to detect and attack, really with the emphasis on attack. They were one-man dogs, only trusting their handler. Had a tremendous sense of smell, along with their excellent hearing and sight. With that makes them very effective at night.
The main thing scout dogs did was to search out enemy personnel. They could do that by sound or smell. They also could find tripwires. They could do that by sound or smell, depending upon if the tripwire was pulled tight, they could hear it. If it wasn't, they could tell the smell from where the person, whoever put it out there, was.
As a matter of fact, the Viet Cong had a bounty on dog handlers and the dogs, heads. I didn't find that out until after I got back to the States.
There's no wonder that those dogs were subjected to some of the, ticks and fleas and parasite-borne diseases. And, monsoon season, that was a hoot in itself. There was a period of time where we lost 5 dogs to disease.
My camaraderie was with Prince. It wasn't with the other guys in Vietnam. I had that bond forever for the rest of my life.
It may sound weird, but you start talking to the dog, and he could be very playful if he wanted to. I think that helped me get through the long days there.
Well, on a night where it was kind of calm and the weather was halfway decent, I think about, if you'll take care of me, I'll take care of you. And he was just looking at me like he knew exactly what I was talking about.
Upon completion of the war, these 4-legged soldiers remained there. They were either turned over to the South Vietnamese military to continue their work as military working dogs, or they were just turned loose to fend for themselves. But many of them were euthanized. The Department of Defense at the time viewed these animals as equipment. They were not allowed to return to the States. One excuse was that they would carry diseases back.
the fate for Prince was 6 years old, and he was euthanized. So his fate was not as good as it could have been.
What I sort of have an issue with my government about is how they were treated, or in some cases mistreated, once they, in some cases, gave the ultimate sacrifice for this country. 48 years after being separated from Jake, I think there's not a day goes by that I don't think of him in one way or another. And some days are tougher than others.
When we were in the field, Prince did the work. He was the smart one. I carried his food and water.
It was lonely out there, but I knew Duke, my four-legged partner, was always by my side. He was never going to run from me. And I felt very comfortable out there, and I felt that because of him that I was able to make it back to the States.
Approximately 4,000 military working dogs served in more than 90,000 missions during the Vietnam War. Only around 200 made it home to retire in peacetime. Military working dogs found more than 2,000 Viet Cong bunkers, secret tunnels, and countless booby traps, saving an estimated 10,000 American lives and preventing countless injuries. Due largely to the efforts of Vietnam dog handlers, Congress passed Robbie's Law in 2000. Since then, adoptable dogs are no longer euthanized at the end of their military service. Instead, they are offered first to former military dog handlers, then to law enforcement, and finally, to qualified families. On a day when we celebrate service, these four-legged warriors and their two-legged partners are not forgotten.